December's just about here, and I want to take a look at what Steam has to offer. PC gamers love to game as well, and I'll have to say, there's a bunch of titles coming. I need to take a look at what they are and let you know if they're any good, so let's dive into the best games coming on Steam in December. So we're here in the upcoming section of Steam, and let's take a look at the first game that they have offered. The first game on today's list is FACELESS. This is a horror style game that is yet to come out, and from the scenery that we're looking here, the game shows a lot of promise. Unfortunately, that's about all that we can see because there is no gameplay footage to look at, but it's one that I would probably take a look at and maybe take a little look at the reviews to see if it's worth it when the game comes out. Next up is Disruption. This game is a third-person shooter that's going to be brought to us very soon here on Steam. When you have games like Call of Duty that are coming to the scene all of the time with new titles, it's really hard to compete in the genre and in the scene overall, so you really have to do something different. In this element here, it looks like you're fighting against robots with some nice tech, and of course in that third-person view, reminding me a little bit more of something like Gears of War, minus the cover system inside of that game. This is something that you're going to want to check out if you're big into the shooter genre, and if maybe you're tired of some of the bigger games like Call of Duty and you want a taste of something new. Next up is a gory indie game called Grave Days, a top-down style game where you are going around and killing zombies. They call this one a bit gory, and as you can tell, it definitely has that element to it. With that being said, it also is very cartoony. I like the idea here. This is one of those games where you're just not going to be taking anything too seriously. This is not going to be your lifer game, but it's something that looks like it could be a lot of fun, whether you want to play casually, maybe even stream it, or just play with some friends. Introducing Super Dungeon Designer. In this game, you do exactly what the title says. You get to design your own dungeons, and that's really fun, and I love how Steam has these types of games on it. It basically pulls out your creativity and allows you to play through your creations. The graphics in this game are pretty cool too, reminding me of a newer, more updated version of the old school Zelda, but still having those same old school elements. You kind of feel like you're walking around in this game the way that you would in those classic Zelda games. Keep in mind, all the games today on today's list are in early access and able to be able to jump into the majority of them right now to see what they're like and if you like them before they come out in full release. Also remember, when you do that, you have word with the developers. They're listening to the community to see what people like and what people don't like. Check this one out if you're looking for something that's reminiscent of the old Zelda days with an update. Welcome to the Endless WYRD. What I'm looking at here is something that reminds me of an RPG style game, but this one is actually presented as a roguelike. Some definitely dark elements here when you're talking about character design. I actually like it. It doesn't look like anything that's like groundbreaking, but at the same time, the artwork in this game is dark, grungy, cartoony looking, but more comic book looking actually. And it is something that I would probably enjoy playing. Definitely a different element of gameplay style than we have in our typical games, but this is one that you may be interested in and that we'll be seeing soon. So it's one to keep an eye out for. Introducing Road to Hollow Hills, and you guessed it, this is a new horror style game to be released very soon on Steam. Very dark elements here. Looks like you have some puzzle elements to the game as well, and prepare to be spooked along the way. I really like the darkness of this game and the attention to detail with the design of the game as well. A lot of games in this genre, they just go really dark and they kind of neglect the actual art of the game. That does not seem to be the case right here, and some of this looks extremely creepy. I could see you doing a late night stream, scaring yourself and your viewers at midnight. Definitely a fun one to keep an eye out for. It's one that I'm going to be looking at for myself, and I'm not even into the scary types of games, so this one has some potential. Next up, we have Blow It Up, which is a physics style game, and as you can see, this game does not present itself as being one with amazing graphics, but if you're into physics and games of that nature, this may be one that you enjoy. I'm sure it's one of the types of games that's really addicting. You're gonna put something together and then get to blow it up, kind of like they do in Lego Master, if you happen to watch that show. There's a satisfaction to destroying your creations. This one could be fun. Guys, take a moment to drop into the comments below and tell me what your favorite game is that you're playing right now on Steam. And if you don't have anything, drop me your favorite emoji. And this is Stallion Squad. That's right, it's a very casual style game. It actually reminds me of, what was that one called with the sheep back in the day? I don't even remember. Maybe you guys do. But this is a casual style game with customization options, and if you're into stallions or horses and just having a goofy old good time, this could be one you're into. If not, I would probably just go ahead and leave this one alone. Introducing Patient Zero. We're looking at a roguelike platforming style RPG game here. Definitely another one that has that older element to it, and that's something that we get a lot here on Steam. Games that look like they were developed 20 years ago, because it's very small development teams creating some of these titles. That does not by any means mean that this game can't be a ton of fun. If you look at it, it'll definitely bring you back to when you used the game back in the day, and maybe you'll enjoy it today. And here we have UPROAR, an early access action game with characters that just seem to be blobs at this point in time. Will they actually develop them out? Actually, I don't think so. This is going to be the character style that this game rolls with. Very simplistic, allowing them to add a little bit more detail to the environments around them, or at least that's my positive spin on it. The game actually looks kind of fun. It looks like it's a little bit more developed than the one we just looked at previously, but I don't know. I don't know if this would have enough to catch me right here. It definitely may have some elements to it that could be fun, but one that you want to download, well, that'll be up to you. And this is Souls of White Star, clearly not developed here in the United States, but this is a card-style game brought to us in a futuristic space-looking realm. It doesn't look like this one is going to sit amongst some of the top card battling games, but it could have a niche audience that really enjoys this style. One to keep an eye out for, maybe if you're someone that's big into the genre. If you're not, it's not one that I would take a second look at. And this is Boss Lords, a tactical RPG game that is very simplistic in how this game is built. Not only are the graphics simplistic, although I do like the rolling in ocean, the character lineups are pretty simple as well. Not something that's going to be overly drastic for you to learn, and it also, from what we're seeing right here, has some elements where you could place even structures as you saw that tower get placed. The game looks like it has some elements to it that could be a lot of fun for people that are into the RPG style titles. Hydrofoil Generation. This is your sailing game brought to us today. There are not many sailing games on the market, and when you have one that looks as good as this, it's something that you may want to take a peek at when you are into the genre, if there even is a genre right now for sailing style games. There's not really, but it would be, I guess, in the sports genre. I like how you have to work on your degrees, how you have to work on actually sailing a boat and figuring out how it works. Not to say that after playing this, you'd be able to go do it IRL, but it looks like a fun game and it looks like it's well developed, and you may want to go give it a ride. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel with the bell rung, and I'll see you guys in the next video.